far as I can see, this sheep's got a head out and nothing else. So I'm just going to dive in to help.
Slipping out the door before you see my face. I'll slip on out the door before you see my face. But it didn't mean you didn't matter to me.
I'm being really careful what I'm going to show you, but this is the lamb before that, a lamb that was dead. She's only having a single, and over there in the mixed up pens that have just fallen down on me, there's triplets. I'm going to very sensitively, for the YouTube, show you how to skin a lamb. If you don't want to watch, I will tell you when I'm going to do it, so don't worry, I won't just like put it on the screen, because I am aware. Are you alive? Yeah, it's all right, it's alive. Jesus, it's just my morning. So if we do this properly, we'll choose, like, you choose the medium lamb. You don't want to choose the really tiny one, and you don't want to choose the massive one. So I think it'll probably be this one here. So I have to explain why I'm doing it. So I'm doing this because sheep have 2 teats, that's it. And they only really have enough milk to feed 2 lambs. They do not have enough, and she definitely does not have enough to sustain them 3 lambs. She has still got fresh hormones going on. She's looking for a lamb. Obviously, it's dead. She can't do anything with it. But the juices are not really flowing, should we say. If it was having twins, which I was actually, when I came out, I was hoping it was, so I could just show you a wet adoption. What I'd do is I'd catch all the juices at her back end, and before I gave her a second lamb, I'd smother the juices all over one of those lambs. I'd tie its legs together so it looked slightly more enable than a prancing around, 2-day-old lamb. And I'd give her that first before I gave her her own. But obviously, she's only having a single, which is really unfortunate for me, so I have to show you this. Fuming about this. I'd only checked her half an hour earlier and she was totally fine. And it's not been stuck because its head isn't swollen. I think it's probably just been dead on arrival, to be honest. It does happen. Okay, so here we have Lammy Bammy Bammy. I always triple check it's dead before I do this because it's a fear of mine. Yeah, it's defo dead. It came out dead. Here it is in all its glory. I'll show you. I'll tell you when I'm going to do something gross. I'll show you where I'm going to cut it because a lot of people ask this, and I'll maybe even pause it. I do have a diagram for carving jackets. I'll maybe do one for lambing as well because it makes it a lot easier that it stays on the body. It's a bit of a knack to knowing where to cut because you end up doing it and going, oh, where am I at? So what you want to do is get your lamb, you'll cut here, okay? Leave all this hole. You'll cut a circle around its leg there, a circle around that leg, and then you'll go straight across here like this, right down there. Leave all this on and leave the tail on. Now you'll leave the tail on because that's where the yow sniffs, if you notice them. When they're drinking the milk, they sniff the tail. So we want to leave that bit on. So the easiest way I found to get a skin off a calf is to cut a tiny hole and use the compressor. So I'm going to turn the compressor on. I'll tell you when I'm going to do something gross, obviously. I'll put this on for 3 minutes. 3. So turn it off if you're soft or fast forward. So I'll show you briefly. I'm going to cut a little hole here, just there, and I'll stick the airline in and I'll blow the skin off the animal. Hello, YouTube are going to love me.
Nice to meet you. The pleasure was all mine. Just don't go feel blue about me walking out on you, cause it's the way it had to be. I walked out on you, cause it's the way it had to be. Please, can you
hope that wasn't too much of a turn off. Do you know what I mean? And there's a fine line between educating people and making them go, oh, I'm not watching that. Do you know what I mean? I must say with me, there is no line, to be honest. I love it. The grosser, the better. So, little leg in. But really close it with. We'll just have her in here, I think, because she's having a single and it's all going on today. I forgot my gloves. Give me 1 minute. So I'm just going to leave them lambs a little bit. I'll leave the fostered one on, the adopted one on, and just see how she gets on. She seems to be taking it, but you know, its mum's only 4 pens away, so I think I'm going to put its mum in nursery pen and get it kicked out, even though they're only born yesterday. I'll just have to keep a really close eye on them, or I move her somewhere else just so she can't hear it bleating, so I think it's a bit distracting. Anywho, are you listening? This comes off all of the gutters around the farm and goes into here. And then in turn, this, when it gets to a certain level, flows down the cubicle shed, in a pipe, obviously, not over the top, and into the slurry. It is really tempting to crack a tractor out and just pump it down. But actually, if we just wait a couple more days, it'll flow in itself. And then this field here that we had sheep in, it wants feeding desperately. We will make marks. It's just inevitable. We will make marks. It's been really wet, but we can roll them out. It's not the end of the world. It definitely needs slurry on though. Somebody asked, just in the middle, about the New Holland. This is Big Roy's tractor. It's a 6635. They're really kind of rare. I don't mean rare as in like valuable rare. I mean like there wasn't many of them. It was like the crossover from Fiat New Holland. It was like the first one. And it's got the same cab frame as the JXU, which is really funny because 17 years later they were still using this cab. Tell anyone I know anything about tractors or I'll kill you. I'm all about the fluffy sheep. Oh, I rate this better than the MX Loader at home because it sits better. So the one at home sort of sits up here and it makes you really topply, and it's far too big for the tractor. Should have thought about that when buying it. This thing here, you can lift anything up and it's never going to tip over, which is bloody brilliant. It's a bit of a workhorse of a tractor. It's seen some hell, like, to be honest. It's been on fire, it's had a replacement engine. Poor Big Roy, like an old man, had it, and it was obvious, it was easy to get on and off, and it had done a lot of heavy work, and it threw a rod out the side of the engine. So it's had a new one, which is grand. See, it's been ploughed into a fair few things in its time. It's had some fairly nifty repairs. Can't get the grills for them. We did ask Lloyd's a couple of years ago and they couldn't find one, but if they did get a new one, it was going to be 400 quid. It's worth it, man. It's not a beauty queen, is it? These are horrendous. The clutch, literally, I hate driving it. It's not good. More smoke through this cab with Big Roy smoking than a mill chimney in Preston has. It has a kangaroo seat cover, very snazzy. Not many tractors you're going to see have there. Growing its own ecosystem, which is impressive. Now forwards and backwards. There we are. Go for second, hatchets. Let's do this. Years ago, Big Roy was filling it with diesel, and it rolled away into a DPD van and stuck the spike straight into the side of his van. That was an interesting day. Oh my God, we're so busy today. So, baby lamb next door, I've taken the string off its legs. She's too busy trying to lick it to let it suck. But at least she's not trying to kill it, so that's a total bonus. This thing here has just been on lambing a bit and thinks that that lamb is hers. Just because it's shouting. So we're just going to lamb her because she's quite a fat thing. Good times. Good times. Oh, we flew out. Literally changing my coats like 3 times a day because I keep getting the cuffs absolutely pitted. Meanwhile, next door, good girl. Super. What are you doing? No. Jesus Christ, what is going on today? Before he dies, that is not what we want. That's not what we want. We want legs, not head. Legs, not head. Right, bear with me. Hello. Oh. We're just mucking out the cows. I'm Gate Girl, should we call me? I caused a bit of a stir on Farming Forum, but it got completely misread. My point wasn't that I don't want people not liking me and that I'm deeply upset that people don't find my channel entertaining. I couldn't care less. Don't get me wrong, I'm really grateful for the people that do find me entertaining, but if they don't, fair cop, I'm not arsed at all. And likewise, I'm not bothered if someone looks at my ass. I'm okay with that. On a thread about YouTubers making money from YouTube, how did it get overlooked that I've just bought a Merlot with money from YouTube and yet I post thumbnails with my arse in and it's all of a sudden a talking point? How does that happen? Only real point, before I got annoyed at Clive himself for his reply, which is a secondary thing, was that nothing positive comes out of that thread. No one's going, oh yeah, look at that lass, she's bought a Merlot with the proceeds from YouTube. Oh, look at that lass, she's given hay to Forage Aid. No one's going, oh yeah, look, she's producing beef for the supermarkets, you know, or the dairy bread things in there are going to go into McDonald's. These fancier things here might go into the hospitality industry. No one's saying that. They're only saying the bad stuff or the petty, ridiculous stuff like I've reply. That's another kettle of fish altogether. And that's not for YouTube. The negativity that arises out on the Farming Forum page, though, about YouTubers is obscene. It's actually talked about on other forums as disgusting. Like, I could find you the comments, but I can't be asked. Should have really stopped the conversation and put my point across on Farming Forum, but I'd rather not, to be fair. It's just such a negative, bitchy place. And they think women are bad. I mean, Jesus Christ. On each other next if you watch. The lads can run away with any narrative they want. To be fair, I'm fairly thick-skinned, as Clive says. I am actually not not bothered what people think of me, whether they like me or whether they like looking at my ass. I'm not that bothered. The reason it irks me is just because any of the good work that we're doing is getting completely bypassed. Sorry, I'm being attacked by a cow. Completely being bypassed, and just the trivial things are being mentioned, just the negative stuff, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I know a lot of the lads off Farming Forum are watching it because it tells you in your analytics where your video views are coming from, and last night are higher in a short space of time, I think, since I did a slagging off of a Valtra, which is crazy. It's ridiculous for one. But it also tells you things like it came from Google, it came from WhatsApp, it tells you where things come from. So the external watches from people typing my name in has gone up tenfold, which is just, it's crazy. So I thought I'd better address it, because otherwise it just looks like I've, lit a fire and walked away. It wasn't about my ass. It wasn't about people not liking me. It was more about the fact that I have done good stuff and I've done stuff I'm proud of. Why is no one talking about that? If I want to post pictures of my bum on the internet, I totally will. Lads just sent me a message and it said he was in a tool shop in Egremont a couple of weeks ago, and the man in front of him was being pretty shitty about me and how I could buy a Merlot with YouTube. And the lad, good on him, because I don't know if I'd have had the balls to say it, stood up for me and said, you're out of order. Anyway, when they got talking, the man was on the bones of his ass, and he was just cross because he couldn't see any way forward with farming. And then there's me plastering it all over that I've got a mini Merlot and that. I think the problem actually probably does go a bit deeper than just jealousy and bitterness, which is at face level what I think it is. But actually, on second review, times they're really hard, like for a lot of people. And me celebrating my, happiness doesn't take away from the fact that some people are finding it hard. I do take that on board as well, to be fair. But just before tea, I'm just going to take this into the workshop and see if I can swap that top. Bloody keys, they get everywhere, but if you don't put them down your top, they end up whacking your face when you're doing something. I'm just going to take this attachment off because there's absolutely no reason to have it on. Press this. It normally clicks. Right. One here is the one that's leaking. I've got to get an adjustable spanner because everything with bobcats is imperial. So like normal toolboxes don't really apply. They just don't fit slightly. Bad boys will do. Explaining the difference between imperial and metrics may be a little bit too patronizing for you guys, but you don't know who's watching, do you? Do you know what I mean? I try to be kind to everybody. The new part, let me show you. Basically sits there like that. There's quite a lot of it in there. The only bit I don't understand what it is, fair enough it screws in, is this here. I don't know if it's a sensor or what. So yeah. Apparently it's the female that goes bad more often than not, which is this one here. But it's not, it's actually the male that's gone a bit dodgy on us. Nothing special to do other than brute force, which I don't pretend to have in abundance, but I'll have a bash. Back for the girls has been delivered. The molasses is here. We get it from a place called BB Dairies at Kirby Stephen. They come with a wagon. Said the other day, molasses is dispensed pretty much by weight. The heavier this is, the faster it comes out, as Roy's just found out. That tank is empty. It takes ages to fill it. little sheep snack. Sheep snack. Snack's here. Have you ever wanted to see people get knocked about by sheep? You're about to see it. I love you forever. I'll always remember you. We couldn't get the coupling off the bobcat, and we were just going to end up rounding it off, which is not what we want to do. So we'll get some better fitting, proper imperial spanners tomorrow, and do it probably with a little bit more precision, because we don't want, the last thing we want to do is round coupling off, because it would be absolute murder to get off. I don't know whether it needs a bit of heat or something, but it wasn't a quick fix. So yeah, more updates on that tomorrow. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Please, can you forgive me?